Hey everybody, it's Karen with Food and Family, and it's Christmas time. It's time to start making our candies, our cakes, our pies, whether it's just for your family and your holiday gathering or if you want to give them for gifts. I think a wonderful gift is a homemade pecan pie. I'm going to make 2 today. Now I'm going to be putting them in the freezer. I'll take them out Christmas Eve and let them thaw, or Christmas morning so they'll defrost. It doesn't take them long. So I'm going to read you the ingredients. I've got 2 pie crusts. Now I'm using store-bought pie crusts. They're delicious, they're easy, they're convenient, but if you want to make your own pie crust, go right ahead. And that would be just wonderful. But what we're going to need is 3 eggs, a half a cup of sugar. Now I like to use a 1/4 cup of white granulated sugar and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. You want to pack the brown sugar. You'll have 1 cup of white corn syrup. You can use the dark if you want. I like the white. I use Karo. You use whatever you want. 1 cup of pecans broken, or I'll chop them up. A teaspoon of salt. A teaspoon of vanilla. Use a really good vanilla. It makes a difference, all the difference in the world in your baking. 3 tablespoons of butter. You want it melted. And 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Now I've preheated my oven already to 350. I'm going to put them together, put them on a baking sheet, and slide them in the oven. That just helps keep it from me spilling it over into my oven. And if it were to run over, that'll catch the spill, so it'll be easy clean up. So let's get started. I've got a whisk to beat up the eggs. That's not a good word, is it? Beat them up. So that's 1. Don't break your eggs over your bowl. You don't want to get shell in your pie crust. It wouldn't taste good. 3 eggs, okay? So let's beat it up. You want to do it by hand. You don't need a mixer. It's too simple to beat it up by hand. Mix it up, I should say. But a beater just mixer just kind of over mix it. So let's get our 1/4 cup measure. I'm going to measure a 1/4 cup of white granulated sugar and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Now I've got light brown sugar. If you have dark brown sugar, that's fine too. Pack it. Can you see? Pack it in and right into the bowl. And we're going to stir this together. Maybe you can see, I tried to get a clear bowl so maybe you could see exactly what I'm doing, how it comes together. You see in that bowl? Looky there. Oh my goodness, it's going to be good. Next, we're going to put a cup of our corn syrup. Now, if you've watched me before, you've heard me say if you spray your measuring cup, your syrup will come out easy. It'll just slide right out. So let's stir it. Well, I used baking spray. Excuse me just a moment. Oh, I don't find... There it is. So let me get a different measuring cup. I'm sorry. So if you've heard me say before, if you spray your measuring cup, your syrup will slide right out. So I'm going to spray it real good with my nonstick spray. Then I'm going to measure 1 cup. Now these bottles have measures on it that tells you that it's, what, can you see that? 1 cup right there. But I like to measure it anyway in my measuring cup just to be sure. if you get a little extra, it's not going to hurt anything. Let's see, we're almost there. There we go. And it's sticky, but it's so good. Yep, see, I'm glad I measured it because that shows just under a cup. So let's put in, why don't you just slide right out. Look at there. Now that's gonna be some good stuff. My family loves pecan pie. And another pie I'm going to try to get around to making for you guys is an egg custard. My family loves egg custard. My husband, that's his one request every year is egg custard. I have a sister-in-law of mine that can eat one by herself. She loves them so much. And so I always try to make sure I've got egg custards for the both of them. Okay, so that's the syrup going in. We need a teaspoon of vanilla. Get you a good vanilla now. It really makes a difference. Oops, I got a little extra. It's not gonna matter. See, I like this brand. Get you a good brand of syrup, vanilla, make real vanilla. And I'm gonna put in my tablespoon of melted butter. If you don't put that in, you will know the difference. A teaspoon of salt. I don't use quite a full teaspoon. That's a half a teaspoon. Let's do a half a teaspoon. And I don't want it salty, but that salt, when you put salt in sweets, it just brings out that sweet taste and it makes it just that much better. So we're gonna put that in, and I need 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Now what the cornstarch is gonna do, it's gonna help that pie set up and it'll get nice and thick and hold together when you slice it, and it won't run. If you cut into a pecan pie and it's just kind of runny, whoever made it didn't put anything, a binder in it, if you want to call it that, cornstarch, or you can use flour. I just like to use cornstarch. It mixes up a lot better than flour does. So let's mix that up real good. I'm going to show it to you. Now, looky there. See all that golden deliciousness? Can you see that? We're going to put that in our pie, but first, we're going to put our pecans in it. So let's chop them up, and then I'll get that done here. Get out of the way, guys. We need 1 cup of pecans. I always like to look at my recipe. I've made this pie so many times I could just about do it by heart. I always like to look at my recipe to make sure I'm not missing anything. If you have a chopper, you can use it. I don't want to go too fine, but I want them chopped well enough that I'm not going to bite into a whole pecan. And to me, I've heard people say if you use whole pecans, it makes it a lot prettier. Maybe it does, but I think just broken pecans like we're doing here makes just as pretty of a pie. And if I put whole pecans in it, I feel like I've got to sit there and arrange them and not have them all willy-nilly in the pie. This saves you some time. It doesn't take long. You can buy pecans that are already broken into pieces. I just happen to have whole pecans, and actually they're called mammoth pecans. They are pretty big. So we'll get those cut up. Break them with your fingers. You can chop them with a knife like I'm doing. I'm doing it with a knife. It's just easier and quicker. and see how I've got them. Can you see it pretty good? I don't know that it's focusing great. So we need a cup. Let's make sure we have a cup. If you go over, it's not going to hurt. It's like with cheese, you never can have too many. Maybe you can, but I haven't found that case. See, that's just a little heaping over a cup. So, get that in our pan, spread them out. Now what you're going to see is when we put this mixture, this just golden, luscious mixture over the pecans, it's going to cover them up. But after a minute, you can watch them and those pecans just all float up to the top, and you're going to have a top crust of those wonderful pecans. And you don't have to arrange them. Looky there. Can you see that pie? Wait till it gets baked. Oh, it's going to be so good. So I'm going to get this on my baking sheet, and I'm going to get the other one mixed up and get them in the oven. And when I do that, I'm going to come back and show you what they look like after they've been baked, okay? I'll see you in a little bit. Hey guys, I want to come back and tell you real quick. I think I told you earlier when I was mixing up the other pie, 1 tablespoon of butter. It's actually 3 tablespoons of melted butter. So I just wanted to correct myself if I told you wrong. And I will post this recipe in the description box. So look for that and make sure you write it down, and you do 3 tablespoons of butter, okay? And while we're here, let's finish mixing up this second pie. So I've got my eggs, my sugar, my vanilla, and my syrup. I'm putting in my butter. Oh, it's so good. Let's put in our cornstarch. There we go. Get it all beat up here. Why do we say beat up? It's mix up, isn't it? I said I like the cornstarch because it just goes into the mixture a lot better than flour. To me, flour wants to clump, and I don't want that. We'll cut up our pecans. Do you say pecan or pecan? I say pecans. I'm born and raised in Alabama, and that's what we've always called it. There's so many different ways to say it. None of them are wrong either. Get these all chopped up. Be careful with your fingers. You don't want to hurt yourself while you're doing it. Don't take but a minute to run your knife through them. Now, we're going to measure them, but I'm going to use them all anyway. And that one's closer to a regular cup of pecans. Put them in. I could have started to put them in there, and it would have been okay if I did. So, we're going to, I want a few more pecans in that pie. It looks a little skimpy to me. We don't want a skimpy pie, do we? I don't. I'm gonna go through the trouble of making it. I'm gonna make it good. And we're gonna know we're eating a pecan pie. Now we got it. That's gonna be better. We're not measuring, we're just gonna put them in. Okay. Let's make sure we got everything. Eggs, sugars, syrup, There's my pecans, salt, vanilla, butter, and cornstarch. Give it one last stir. See, if I had put, so kind of a little more golden it is, if I had used just all white granulated sugar, it'd have a little more yellow tinge to it because of the egg yolks. But I like that brown sugar taste in there. It gives it, I don't know, to me it gives it, gives the crust a little crispier taste. That's not the right word. It just gives it a little more crunch, but I like the taste of the brown sugar in it. Kind of gives it a more caramelized taste. Let's get rid of this. We don't need it now. Now see how those pecans are floating up already? Can you see that? And they're going to come up and they're going to float up to the top, and it's going to be just a solid pecan topping. The other one has already floated up all to the top. Let me show you what it looks like already. See how it's already up there? So let's get this in the oven. Got it in a preheated 350-degree oven, and I'm gonna cook it around 50 minutes. I'll check it probably at 45, but when you take it out, you want just a light jiggle to it. Maybe like a Jello jiggle, but not quite as jiggly as that, if that makes any sense. So if it's a lot of jiggle, it's not done, so you need to put it back in. If your crust gets too dark around it, you could put a piece of foil over it, and that'll keep your crust from getting too dark. Okay, so let me get these in the oven, and I'll be back with you in a little bit, okay? We're back, and my timer just went off, so we're taking these pies out of the oven. I wish you could smell it. It smells so good in here. Look at these beauties. Look how gorgeous that is. They're puffed up. As they cool, they'll sink down, and that's normal. See how, if you can see the little jiggle that's in there? See if I can, see how just it's slightly jiggling? Can you see that? That's all you want. So we're going to take them over here. Now what I like to do is put them on a cooling rack so they're not sitting directly on my counter or my board. Gets it up, lets a little air flow under it. So once they cool off, I'm going to let them cool completely, and then I'll wrap them really good in aluminum foil, and I'll put them in my freezer until Christmas time. So that way, like I told you earlier, we could pull them out the night before or Christmas morning, let them defrost, and we'll have some delicious pies. This is a family favorite, and it's expected every year. So hopefully I'll be back soon. I want to try to make some egg custard pies for you. And but I just wanted to show you what the pies look like when they come out of the oven. All right, guys, thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoy this video. And like, subscribe, and please share my page. I'd certainly appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening. Bye.